Today, I'm going to discuss how to ace situational judgment as fast as possible. In my last video, I discussed why situational judgment, even though not counted in your total score, has an importance in setting you above an extra 30 to 50 people. And so while I think people should be focusing on their first three sections, there will come a time before your test where it's worthwhile just putting in some effort with your SJT to improve your score quickly. And by understanding the fundamental principles, you should be able to improve your SJT score within a week quite dramatically. And I think everyone should be aiming for something above the 50th percentile, but aim higher if you're already there. So, what is the key to breaking situational judgment apart? First of all, it's the definitions. Most questions are split into appropriateness and importance questions. Appropriateness questions talk about the appropriateness of different actions, whereas importance questions talk about the importance of different considerations. Okay, so in terms of appropriateness questions, you have our four answer options. And if you know the definitions of these, it'll help you address which of those the particular prompt refers to. And so a very appropriate action will solve a key problem. It's not the perfect response because it's often too short a stem or a prompt to be the perfect response, but it's part of the perfect response. So as you're reading the prompt, try and think, what are the key issues here? Often maybe it's patient safety. Generally, emotions are a key issue. And so things that address one of those things, and there probably is 3 or 4 different key issues, are all very appropriate. So if it says in the stem that someone is panicking and anxious, and you reassure and comfort them, then that action is addressing that key issue. And that will then, by definition, be A straight away. An appropriate response is a good response with some drawbacks. So if it's close to the right response, it might be slightly off the line. But the key is, can you spot a potential drawback to it? If there's no drawbacks, it's A. If there is drawbacks, it's B. The C response here is a bit hard to define, but it's easiest to think, what's a D response? So a very inappropriate response will often worsen the situation and has the potential to have safety consequences or will create a new issue, if that makes sense. Whereas the C response is generally things that keep things on the natural trajectory or don't improve things and don't make things dramatically worse. So there's sort of the neutral or do nothing response is often C. So we have a solve the key problem, a good response with a drawback, a terrible response that worsens the situation, and a neutral or response that keeps things on its trajectory rather than making it worse or better. Then we have the importance questions, and importance questions being about considerations. So a very important response is things that you have to consider in the perfect response. Things related to emotion, safety, things related to the key issues. So that's the key for the A responses, is what are the key issues? Again, here B is the one that's hard to define, whereas the C response, minor importance, is things that doesn't matter. They're sort of irrelevant. They don't really change how you're thinking, things that are offbeat and unrelated to the topic. Whereas the D response is things that should not be considered. If you think that way, you'll be less likely to do the right thing. You're more likely to do nothing or the wrong thing entirely. And so D responses keep you from doing the right thing. A responses encourage you to do the right thing. C responses are sort of irrelevant. And then B responses are important. They're close, but they're generally not they're in between A and C. So importantly, when you break down these stems, think about what are the key issues, because you need those key issues to determine what will be an A response and what, if you aggravate them, will be a D response. There are a few other considerations that are worthwhile noting. Number one, what's your role in the scenario? Are you a fully fledged qualified consultant doctor, or are you a med student? Because there's differences in what you should and should not be doing. Number two, what's the tone of the emotions? Is it giving someone feedback in an encouraging and empathetic tone, or is it reprimanding someone harshly? That can influence whether it's appropriate or inappropriate. And finally, emotions. They're generally always going to be a key issue. So how people are feeling, it's important to address that, and addressing that will be A. So you'll often see things like reassuring, comforting, apologizing are often in the A response. If you want further definitions, on the UCAT tutorials page, they have a reasonable set of definitions. So that's a good place to look. And there's a few guides and PDFs that they recommend. Even though I think the GMC guide's about 20 pages, they're very short pages, and you can probably get that done in an hour. Just have a look at it. If you're learning things, that's great. If you are not, and you already sort of know the scope of those, then that's fine. Practically, I would just focus on learning the definitions, learning the common answers, like what's always A, what's always D, what's always C, and keep doing that really until you start plateauing with your score. So if you're at the 30th percentile, you keep doing these things, you hit the 70th and you're stuck at the 70th, then sure, like maybe after a week's practice, like you feel content with that and you want to prioritize the other 3 sections. But don't just stop once you hit the 50th percentile. I would keep pushing it as long as you're improving. And then even once you plateau, think, is there anything else that I could do here? If you're serious about getting a good score, putting in, whether it be you have 1 month to go or 1 year to go, it's important with the UCAT to get yourself equipped with the best resource possible, because you need to be in the top 5 to 10%. So the first thing you should do is click the link in the description. This will give you access to my inner circle where I provide exclusive resources. The first of these is free PDFs. I every week will send out a free PDF covering some of my best strategies in each section. And so these include things like question types and key factors that you can consider. Additionally, by clicking out the link in the description, we can have a free one-on-one call where I give you my approach to practicing the UCAT and give you some advice and some free mentorship on how you can do well with this test and what it's like once you're in med. Furthermore, subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for this to be the biggest area of free UCAT resources available, with videos, PDFs, and free calls. And so why not get your hands on these resources that have helped me and others get into med? Please do me a favor and share this with others if you found it helpful, and stay tuned for more videos on this channel. Thanks very much, guys. I'll see you next time.